Hello calculus students. Today I will be doing problem number 3 on the No Calculator section of the 2017 AP. So I've rewritten the problem here, and the first part of the problem wants us to find f of negative 6 and f of 5. The only thing is that the graph that they give us is f prime of x, not f of x. So the thing that we do know is that f of negative 2 is 7. And we also know that f prime of x is the slope of the graph of f of x at a particular point. So we can kind of count back from f of negative 2. And if we do that to get to f of negative 6, we can see that f of negative 2 will be 7, and then f of negative 3 will be 7 plus 1/2, because that's what the slope is at negative 3, and then f of negative 4 will be 7.5, that's what we got from before, plus 1, because that's the slope there, so we have 8.5, and then counting up again, f of negative 5 will be that 8.5 plus 1.5. Now all this is just from looking at the graph and seeing what we get at those points. And there we get 10. And then for f of negative 6, which is what we're looking for, we have that 10 value plus the 2, which is the slope of the graph of f prime of x at negative 6, gives us 12, which is what we get for f of 6. So f of negative 6 rather, sorry. So f of negative 6 here equals 12. And we can do the same thing for f of 5, except we can actually ignore this here, because normally doing a circle would be complicated, or a semicircle would be complicated, but these two halves cancel each other out. So we're going to start at f of 2, which will also be 7. And if we do the same thing, we find that f of 5 equals 10. Now, the second question asks us when the graph of f is increasing. Now, we can learn this by doing a quick fun chart. Fun. So, we're looking for when the graph of f is increasing, which would mean f prime is positive. And we look over the graph here, which they gave us. F prime is positive here and here. So we can say that f prime is that the graph of f is increasing over the interval negative 6, negative 2, and 2, 5. Because f prime is positive there. Now, the next question asks for our absolute minimum. So we'll go back to our fun chart and we'll see, okay, well, f will have a local minimum value, or a relative minimum value, when f prime goes from decreasing to increasing. So we look at our graph here again, and oh, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. We know there'll be a minimum when f goes from decreasing to increasing, but f prime would go from negative to positive. So we can look at that here, and f prime changes sign here and here, but only at this point is f prime going from negative to positive. So as the only minimum over the interval -6, -5 that they gave us, we know that would have to be the absolute minimum. F of 2 because that is the only possible place. Now, the last question asks for f double prime of -5 and f double prime of 3. So we already know that f prime, which is the graph here that they give us, is the slope of f, and f double prime is the slope of the f prime graph. So we can look at our graph here, and at -5, the slope of this line is -1/2. And so f double prime equals -1/2. F double prime of 3 is a little bit different though, because we see that this point has a sharp turn, and there can't be a slope at this point, so it doesn't exist. Alright, great. Now we've done all parts of the problem. I hope you learned something. Thank you very much.